The tough line from the Prime Minister that suspected jihadists should be stopped from coming home directly contrasts with how some other European countries deal with the problem. Chris Vallance has been looking at how Denmark treats fighters returning from Syria.
I'm born in Denmark and I grew up in this city, Aarhus. I'm from an ordinary family.
The voice of a 21-year-old man calling himself Osman, who spent 9 months fighting in Syria. He's now back in Denmark.
You know, I saw all these videos on YouTube and the social media in general that men, women and children got killed by the army of Bashar. So I felt that I had a duty to help the oppressed people of Syria by any means. So basically I was ready to sacrifice my life and my wealth to help these people. I was involved in fighting, yes. My main position was with the heavy artillery towards the plains of Bashar.
Of the 30 Aarhus residents who went to Syria last year, about half have come back, but they return not to prosecution, but to a voluntary programme aimed at reintegrating them into society.
You know, they don't threaten you with anything. They want you to come back, to be a part of society again. And I believe that's the right way to handle these youth who are coming back from Syria.
It's an approach that has the backing of religious groups, local government and the local police.
Hi, my name is Allan Årslev. I'm a superintendent with the East Jutland Police. What the police does in this program is first of all to get in contact with these persons and ask them to come to our office just to have a short talk. And can we help them to get a hold of their life so they had a good life while they're here. We also assess every person that goes into the program, because if a young man does not want help and we are concerned for his situation, it might be a security risk for our city.
The so-called exit programme is controversial, but it's solidly backed by the government party. Trine Bramsen is a spokesperson for legal affairs.
The Danish police think that there has been around 100 who has gone to Syria and Iraq, and we have around 50 to 70 who has gone into the exit program.
And how many of those would you say are de-radicalised, if you like, or on the road to de-radicalisation?
We hope it's most of them. They want to go back to school and to their family, and so we think it's been a great success.
Denmark doesn't rule out prosecutions, but so far less than 10 have been bought. But it's a strategy not without political risks. Last year, this propaganda video showed extremists shooting at images of Danish politicians and others. If there was an incident, wouldn't people blame the softer approach? Trine Bramsen again.
Of course, it's more difficult as a politician to tell the Danish people that the soft tool is really good tools, but that's what's really give the best results.
The open door to returnees contrasts with the UK announcement of special exclusion orders. Former Guantanamo inmate Moazzam Begg was prosecuted after travelling to Syria in 2012. Charges against him were dropped, but speaking to me from the offices of the campaign group Cage, he told me that his experiences in Belmarsh prison awaiting trial had proven to him that a Danish-type strategy was needed.
I met numerous people in Belmarsh, mostly youngsters, I think between the ages of 19 to about 25, who had returned from Syria, crucially because they didn't want to be involved in the infighting of the conflict. There were several individuals I spoke to who said our idealistic reasons for going was to help the Syrians defend themselves against the regime of Bashar al-Assad and the atrocities. We didn't come here to pick a side between rebel groups.
But if I've seen what has happened on the television or looked on YouTube at various atrocities committed under the banner of IS and I decide to go, doesn't that suggest that my ideas are out of step with what most people would think of as normal moral behaviour if you want to participate in those kind of atrocities?
Well, we're talking about two different things here. One is people coming back from Syria because they don't want to be involved in what IS and anybody else is doing. But the other is people going to Syria because the declaration of a caliphate or because of IS and IS needed support.
So do you think these individuals were dangerous? Do you think if they'd not been arrested and placed in Belmarsh, society would have been at risk from them?
I have absolutely no doubt that all of the people that I've met in relation to the Syrian conflict in Belmarsh were not a threat at all. when we saw the atrocities, when we saw the killing of innocent journalists and the innocent aid workers and the innocent ordinary people, very few, in fact none that I came across, actually tried to justify those acts.
So what do you think should happen to people who return?
I think they should be assessed and they should be looked at and they should be approached by members of their communities, and they can be reintegrated into their families, because the family structure is almost always the best one to be able to bring a person back into the fold of community.
What does reintegration mean to you? When you say you support the idea of reintegration, what does that actually mean?
It means coming back home and being able to pick up the pieces of your life that you left behind.
It doesn't mean any change in belief, doesn't mean any change in outlook in your view.
I believe that the changes that we are looking at or we want to see occur have already happened.
What are those changes?
Those changes are being disillusioned by what they've seen in Syria. Of course, they'll be the greatest ambassadors for this. They'll be the greatest ambassadors. Nobody could do a de-radicalization program better than somebody who returns from Syria and says that what I saw there, the atrocities and the butchery and everything else, is something that I encourage anybody else to do. He wouldn't. They'd be discouraging people. So I can't see how that would be a bad thing.
Moazzam Begg ending that report by Chris Valence. Now, Professor